stories. Let me tell you about this time. This woman really wanted to make sure I saw her middle finger. I was on my lunch hour on a Tuesday and on my way to run an errand or two when I noticed a woman flipping me off from the passenger window of the car she was riding in. And she didn't just stick her hand out the window for a few seconds. No, she shifted in her seat so she could partially stick her head out too, and got as much of her arm out the window as possible. Every 5 seconds or so, she shook her hand a few times as to say, "You see this bitch?" She maintained this posture for an impressive 3 or 4 miles down the highway until she determined, I assumed, that I had been punished enough. And me, I drove along witnessing her anger and just felt so amused. I had no idea why she was doing this. The best I could do is guess at what had happened. Here's what I think may have sparked her outrage. I had turned onto the highway about a half a mile to a mile before she and the vehicle she was riding in passed me. So I suspect I misjudged the gap between vehicles when pulled out into traffic. I'm human, I make mistakes. And if I had pulled out in front of them, I'm sure I startled them. But there were no telltale signs that their vehicle ever came dangerously close to rear-ending me. I heard no screeching brakes. The vehicle never whipped quickly into the left lane to avoid a collision. Nothing I saw or heard gave me any indication that my vehicle and theirs had just experienced a close call. Not from my end, anyway. She might have shit her pants, though. Like I said, I'm human. I know, I've made mistakes in traffic on more than one occasion, so I've been flipped off a time or 5 before. Not to mention the time that I felt I was flipped off unjustly. You know when you're driving along doing the speed limit and someone who is in a bigger hurry than you comes up on your back bumper and flips you off for, of all reasons, not wanting to get a fucking ticket? She was the most animated flipper-offer I had ever seen. I couldn't help but wonder if she was so animated because she believed whatever I had done that offended her I had done on purpose. Or maybe it wasn't about her at all. Maybe it was because I didn't get angry in return, which I typically do. Instead, I found it funny. I wish her no ill will. I get it. Traffic annoys me too. Just ask anyone who's riding shotgun as I have navigated the city at 5 p.m. on a Friday. I can cuss like a sailor when another vehicle gets too close to my back bumper or cuts me off. I won't say I've never flipped anyone off, but it's rare. My go-to gesture when another driver nearly causes a collision with mine is to shake my head disapprovingly. I know. Shaking your head at someone is so school, Mom. But it feels less aggressive, less confrontational, and less likely to set another driver off. And I have always believed that when I shook my head at another driver, he or she understood why. I convinced myself of that. Now, I'm not sure. Most of those drivers were simply amused and thinking, why is this bitch shaking her head? Maybe that's the point of this story. The reason I felt the need to share a mundane incident that occurred around noon on a Tuesday. Maybe it's because this woman, in all of her finger waving at me on the highway, made me realize that probably more often I realized the energy I've spent getting angry at other drivers was a waste of energy all along. This happened the other day. I was hanging out at my friend's house after work. I took him to the auto parts store so that he could check his battery because his car won't start. I left around 10 a.m. I normally leave earlier than that, but like I said, I was helping him with his car, and we were working on music together. Anyway, as I'm driving home, I'm minding my own fucking business, and I'm in the outside lane, and I'm kinda going over the speed limit because I'm tired as fuck, and I just want to get home and fucking lay down. All of a sudden, a truck passes by me, and the guy in the passenger seat flips me off. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? I really don't know what the fuck I did. I wasn't in his way. I didn't cut him off. I didn't do anything whatsoever to this guy. And he just flips me the bird. Now I'm on edge, and I don't know what the fuck is going on. I feel uneasy most days, even when nothing happens. And when things do happen, like they did this day, I feel even worse. Some things just seem so stupid and arbitrary and weird to me and don't make sense to me. And when things like this happen to me, it fucks with my anxiety. I don't know if this was a one-off experience or if it's someone I fucking know. I don't know if I have enemies. I don't know if it was a family member or what. I have some family members that think that my uneasiness and my anxiety is a joke, and they like to scare the fuck out of me like this. I doubt that I'll ever see this person again. Sometimes I think that people are out to get me. I'm just really creeped out and weirded out by some random person flipping me off when I was minding my own business. I really hope nothing happens. I had just gotten my driver's license. By the way, I'm a 23-year-old black woman, and I just started college. I am studying to be a nurse. I didn't grow up in the ghetto, so I don't really know what goes on there. The only thing that I know about it is what I hear in rap music, or what I see in TV shows, or what I see in the movies. I'm not 100% sure if that's an accurate representation. Like I said, I didn't grow up there. I'm from an upper middle class family, and I went to a boarding school for girls. My family is Catholic, so anger is considered one of the 7 deadly sins. So I have to do my best to try not to get angry at people. As I was driving home one day, someone pulls up behind me, and they just start honking their horn for seemingly no reason at all. They're honking their horn, and they were flashing their lights at me, and they were yelling and screaming at me, and as far as I can tell, it sounds like racial slurs. Now, I have never heard these racial slurs in the neighborhood that I grew up in, or the school that I went to. People were not racist like that, so as I'm driving through South Florida, all of a sudden, I start hearing the N-word and all kinds of other things, and I'm absolutely disgusted. I did absolutely nothing to this person, and they're flashing their lights at me, and they're honking their horn at me, and they're yelling and cussing at me, and I'm just like, what? I tried to ignore him, and then he parked right behind me and blocked my little Kia in the parking spot and tells me something along the lines of, "I don't like your kind around here. You need to get out of my town, bitch." I was absolutely horrified and mortified by this guy's anger. Like, I don't understand what I did. And then I get accused of smoking crack, and some racist cop comes up and is checking me for drugs. And I try to explain to the cop that I'm a Catholic and I had never used drugs in my life. I went to Catholic boarding school. I am from an upper middle class family. And the cop starts calling me ghetto trash and treating me like I'm a piece of garbage. As the cop is treating me like I'm a piece of garbage, I happen to look over and I see other people, and they look like they may be from a poor neighborhood. And they walk up and they ask the cop, "What the fuck are you doing to this girl?" And the cop says something along the lines of, "Mind your business, boy." Thankfully, these people had the knowledge enough to report this guy, and this guy lost his badge, and also the guy that blocked me in he got a harassment charge. I honestly think that he was probably going to try to rape me. Like I said, because I went to a boarding school for all girls, and I'm even in a college for all girls, and a Catholic college, I don't have a lot of experience with men, so I can't tell if they are hitting on me or if my life is in danger. But this obviously was a dangerous situation, and this guy had no right to be mad at me. And I think he was just mad at me because I was an upper middle class black girl. Like, he took offense to that for some reason. I guess he didn't like seeing black people with money. I am very thankful that the other people helped me out. I tried to offer them money, but they looked at me and they're like, "We don't need your money, girl." I offered to buy them breakfast, but they told me that they were in a hurry and that they had to go to work. I'm not sure if it was their pride that wouldn't let them take the money from me or let me buy them dinner. It's fine either way. I'm just thankful that they were there and they stood up to this cop and this other dude who was obviously harassing me. I think the cop was even going to try to join in on the guy in the truck that wanted to rape me. That day, I swear for the first time in my life that Jesus actually came through for me. I had never ever experienced anything like that. The devil was there that day and the devil wanted to hurt me. I have never really been religious, even though I did go to Catholic school because my parents are Catholic. I tried to stay away from the Catholic religion, but something was protecting me that day. Of course, I don't want to discredit the two guys that helped me because they were very helpful. I'm sorry that I assumed that they were impoverished because they may not have even been poor. I mean, that's wrong of me to assume that because I've never seen these people before, and yes, I was in an impoverished part of town, but that doesn't particularly mean that they were impoverished as well. I know it's hard for us from the middle class or upper middle class to not judge people, and I'm sorry if I come across as being judgmental like that. I was just very sheltered growing up. I've never done drugs, I've never drank, I've never had sex. I probably only kissed one guy ever, and if my parents found out about that, they would probably kill me. I mean, it's hard being Catholic. And if they found out that I kissed someone like that, they would probably call me a whore and disown me. So hopefully they never find out about what happened that day, because they will probably say that I caused it myself, even though they have been victims of racism before, but they will somehow want to know why I was in an impoverished part of town, and they won't understand that I was blocked in and that I was doing my goodwill as a Catholic girl and I was trying to spread cheer and charity in the word of Jesus. I had just got off of the interstate after driving for over 200 miles from visiting my dying mother in the hospital. I had stopped at the convenience store for an energy drink and some snacks. I pay for my stuff, and the cashier is really cute, and she is flirting with me, and at least that's what I perceived she was doing. I slide her my number. She says she'll call me after her shift. I was walking out of the convenience store. Some guys and some girls and a car yelled, "Jew!" at me, then slinked cowardly down into their seat when I looked at them with a glare. I have curly hair, and I was wearing a knitted hat, which I think they mistook as a yarmulke. It was uncomfortable despite the fact I'm not Jewish by religion or by ethnicity or anything of the sort. In a way, though, I almost felt guilty that I felt uncomfortable, since actual Jewish people deal with actual prejudice against them. This actually happened to me all through high school as I started growing my hair out too. I thought it was ignorant then, I think it's ignorant now. I noticed as they were leaving the parking lot that they had children in the car too, which made me feel even worse. The fact that the guy driving had been nice enough inside the store before he came out and didn't have anything to do with the dumb moment made me feel bad for him as well. He was clearly having no part of their stupidity, but I imagine he gets roped in a lot. As they were backing up and turned to leave, in a moment of I need to get back at them weakness, I yelled, "I hope your kids have fun in jail when they grow up," through their windows. They drove away after that. The worst part is I recognized the license plate, so I know I'll be seeing them around. If you are new, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, as it really helps me out. And if you are already subscribed, welcome back and thank you for subscribing.